Hello and welcome to another video on Python Essentials. Our task for today is, given a certain string, how do we locate the midpoint of it? And when you're talking about a string that is, say, several characters long, okay, could be 30, 40 characters or even more, your midpoint could vary depending on whether your total length of the string is even or is it odd, right? So in case it's even, our task would be to identify the middle two characters such that you have equal number of characters on either side of those two characters. And if you have an odd number of characters in the string, you just need to locate that one character which splits the string. So what we'll do is we'll try to define a function for this. Let's call it str midpoint for string midpoint. And our argument would be the string itself, right? So L is equal to length of this string 1 to begin with, and we would first try to identify whether this length is an even number, that is to say it's divisible by 2, or L modulo 2 is equal to 0. If that is the case, we can define the midpoint as L by 2, right? We're talking about L being an even number. So if you have 10 characters, your midpoint would be 5. And we are looking for the fifth and the sixth character, right? So in other words, let's have a list which would contain 2 characters. The first one would have str1 mp minus 1, and your second element would be str mp itself, right? We can check this out with a simple string of 4 to 5 elements, right? If we're talking about 4 elements, we would require, and we break it up by 2, in terms of index value, you would be looking at 2 minus 1 and 2 itself, right? Index, which is index 1 and index 2, given that your index values would be 0, 1, 2, and 3. All right. Else, which is to say, L modulo 2 is not equal to 0, and you have an odd number. MP would be defined as L plus 1 over 2, and our list would contain only a single element, which would be string 1. Would it be MP, or it would be MP minus 1? All right. Considering that our indexing begins at 0, this is the midpoint character that we are looking at. Okay. Let's run this. Let's also run string 1. We'll need to take a look at 2 examples. Let's check what the length of string 1 is. Okay, we are talking about an even number of elements. So we're supposed to be, or rather the function will be utilizing the first loop, which is the if loop. Let's see how that works. Our function name was midpoint. String 1 is what we have defined. And of course, we need to return. In this case, we are talking about returning the midpoint list. Okay, whether it has two elements in this case or a single element. We like to return MP list. Let's run this once again. All right, we have a type error. String indices must be integers. It's pointing at this particular line. Let's take a look. So we do have L divisible by 2 and MP is an integer, supposed to be an integer. So let's try to ensure that is the case. All right, even over here, we convert it or force typecast it to an integer. String 1, MP minus 1, string 1, MP. It's a list of these two elements. And in this case, we have a single element, string 1. MP minus 1 is the index value. Okay, let's run this once again. So given that we have an even number of characters, we are having two midpoints. D and F happen to be these midpoints. We can quickly check it. We have about 6, 8 characters to the left and also 8 characters to the right. Okay, it's matching in this case. And say we modify this. Let's create a string 2, which has an odd number of characters now, right? We added a single character. Our length will be now 19. And if we were to run the same function on string 2, we should get a single character, which happens to be this one over here, right? You no longer require D. Okay, D goes into the left half, and the last character which we added will go into the right half.